Hey guys, I'm Taylor.
I'm Harley.
And I'm Vanessa. Welcome back to Thavadio.
Alright, so today we watched a movie, a Disney Channel movie. That'll give you a sense of what's gonna happen today.
Disney Channel movies.
It's called Read It and Weep.
Sauce
Is
on
that
my
yes.
finger.
Taylor?
Just
Taylor.
Okay, it's because I have a cut on my finger, and I was
Okay,
like, is my blood coming out?
We're not talking about the cut on your finger.
You need a doctor, Taylor.
Not yet.
Okay, we're talking about Read It and Weep. It's a
Yes.
Disney Channel movie.
And
very-
that can say something for itself.
So the reason we decided to do this, right? So Vanessa over here says that she loves this movie.
I do love this movie. I still love this movie,
And
even though I'm old.
Everyone she
You're
shows
old?
it.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, 90-year-old Vanessa.
You're welcome. Thanks. I mean,
Everyone Vanessa shows the movie to says that they hate it. So
Yes.
we are the aficionados. Did I say that word right?
I have no idea what you're trying to say.
We are the aficionados of great movies, obviously.
Apparently.
Obviously, even though we all have very different
So
tastes.
Taylor and I have watched this movie for the first time today, and we're going to
Yes.
determine whether this is a good movie. And right off the bat, I'm going to say no.
Cringe.
Whoa! Okay.
It is bad cringe.
No, okay.
yes.
Why?
It's fun
Okay.
cringe movie. It's a fun
yeah.
cringe movie to watch.
Actually, when we started watching this, I was thinking of this other Disney Channel movie that's total cringe.
Oh?
Drama Queen.
Yeah, I'm saying that. That's
it's
so
so
bad.
bad, but
It's
it's
much worse
also
than this
good.
movie, but this is one of those movies that's like it's fun to watch because it's bad.
But
I'm
it's
crying
also...
in the corner right now. I'm gonna go cry.
Okay, bye, Vanessa.
No, but let's actually talk about this.
Yes, please. We
The
got some notes.
basic plot of Read It and Weep. This right is that this what's her name again? I forgot.
I don't even know.
Jamie.
Jamie,
Oh,
right? Jameson.
You guys were literally talking about her name earlier. How annoyed you are.
So
Yes.
this 14-year-old girl, she's a freshman in high school, Jamie, she has this journal.
This apparently is good enough to be published, but
Okay,
we'll get to that later.
Yeah. So there's this.
I think my journal is good enough to publish.
Really?
No, it's
No.
bad. It's
Okay.
really
Yeah.
bad.
So
saying.
she has
Like-
this journal, and she accidentally turns the journal in for this competition, and then and so eventually
An essay competition.
An essay
Which
competition.
is funny because it's not an essay.
it's not an essay.
That is
So how does
one
it even
thing
work?
I actually
Like-
have problem with it.
Yeah.
The fact that it's not an essay,
It's
but
not
she
an
still
essay.
won.
And
It's
also,
ridiculous.
Like, why does the teacher read this? And why does the teacher love it? It's like literally this personal
Yeah,
journal,
it's-
and it's like all these.
And to be honest, it's like really immature. Like
Yeah,
the
like-
journal itself.
Yeah.
How
You're
does-
pointing out the problems we have
I'm
with
sorry.
the movie.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
do have problems with the movie.
Yes.
Overall, I like
So
it.
because of a series of events that make absolutely no sense, her journal ends up getting published as a book, and so
For
she
unknown
gets
reasons.
super famous.
Apparently, it was
Also,
super
how would you get-
inspiring.
So famous by writing like a graphic novel.
Yeah, it's like a
was
children.
Diary
It's like
of a Wimpy Kid.
no,
yeah,
not
but
Diary of a
kinda-
Wimpy Kid. More like
The other
the
one.
Smile graphic novel book.
Oh yeah,
You remember that?
I feel like I kind of remember this.
Because of a series of events, her book ends up getting published. She becomes super famous, and so she goes through one of those basic character arcs. Oh, I'm famous now. I'm gonna act like a terrible person, and then
And I want to
I'm
be popular.
wow, terrible person is terrible. I'm gonna stop doing that, and that's basically how the movie goes.
And it's literally every
everything-
other movie like that.
It's
just the same thing.
except it has these details. The details of the movie are what really make this worth watching, even though it's terrible.
I
I'm
would
glad
say
we
it's
both
worth
agree
watching,
it's
actually.
It's worth watching.
It's
yeah.
worth watching.
Not really. Like, I could have
Like-
not spent my time on this. I could
True.
have watched a good movie.
I could have watched a good
It's-
movie.
okay.
I would have preferred to watch a good movie, but this
Yeah.
movie isn't like gonna make you vomit from how bad it is. You want a good
I
cringe fest? This is a good
Yeah.
movie to go to.
Well, no, I think the reason why I love it so much is because I relate. to this character.
Oh,
so much.
yeah. Let's talk about that
Yes.
now.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've already told you guys that I am Jamie. Like, I will probably have the same character arc as Jamie.
Yeah, Vanessa
Which
has
is not a good plan.
Vanessa has
just
gone
say.
out of her way to tell us that if she were to become famous, this would be her character arc, and I find that very concerning, considering we're starting this whole thing.
If I get famous from it,
You'll just leave us in the dust.
Yes,
we get
exactly.
it.
And you'll be a terrible person.
yes.
Okay.
But then I'll come around.
Will you though?
Will
Yeah.
you though?
It's
The main feature of this movie, which I actually kind of really like, the main feature of the movie is this alter ego is the
yeah.
name of it.
That's
Is it's kind of a
it's
weird
it's
name.
the
Her
it's
real
her-
name is Isabella.
So the main character's
Yeah.
name is Jamie, but in her journal she calls herself as like this superpowered, amazing character, right? And
her
she
alter ego that she wants to be, that she wishes
right.
she could be.
So this journal, she replaces a lot of people's names, just and
Except for
creates
Marco, for
except
some
for
reason.
Marco for some
I mean,
reason.
she changes his
She
last
changes
name
his
by
last
like a
name.
few letters.
But yeah,
But he's just not smart enough
It's
to
just-
realize.
So Marco is like the red
pop-
herring love interest.
Oh.
He's
Brunette.
the red herring love interest, the popular guy who the girl's really into until she realizes her best friend is the good one.
And
blah,
she
blah,
also
blah.
realizes
Connor.
he's a jerk.
Yeah. So
I don't know if Marco's really a jerk. He's
I
just
mean,
kind of
he is.
stupid.
But he's a jerk.
He's very stupid.
It's-
He's a jerk.
the part that's really
Sure.
interesting about this
Thank you.
movie is that Jamie talks to another actress. She the adult actress plays the character of
They look remarkably similar,
It's
though.
crazy. So Jamie talks to as sort of like a devil on her shoulder.
And helps her through some of the interviews
why
and
can't she
tells
be
her what
like
to
an
say.
angel?
She's kind of an angel because
Yeah.
she gives
She gives
Jamie the
advice.
confidence, and she says, you got this, you can do this.
You
And,
can
like, you
talk
should
to
actually
people,
do this instead. And,
but like
yeah.
as the progression of the story goes on, becomes this devil on her
Yeah.
shoulder that's telling her to abandon her friends,
And
look out for herself, all that jazz.
yeah. And Jamie eventually starts to become like And
Right.
that's when she kind of realizes that she's the devil on
And
her shoulder.
this is actually a very interesting dynamic that they created between Jamie and this alternate ego that she has in her head. It's very interesting, and I think it's actually very well done in the movie. It's just that everything surrounding that concept is so...
See, the thing, okay, so,
yeah.
okay, I think the real reason why I relate so much to Jamie is not necessarily because if I do become famous, I'll be a terrible person.
Right.
I really don't believe that.
Uh-huh.
Because I certainly hope not anyway. And if I do, please slap me.
Yes.
But
I will.
What I mean to say is that as an author, I do create characters like and
Yeah.
I do talk to those characters. And there have been times where I'll need to do something, and the characters will talk to me and tell me to do it.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I totally understand. I
yeah.
do the same thing.
Which is why I relate so much to
I just
Jamie.
don't understand why that very basic premise, which has very little to do with the general movie, makes you love this so much.
I don't know, because I relate so much to it.
There's
Like,
other movies that have that same phenomenon.
that
are much better.
This is the first movie that I've really seen kind of pull that
Okay.
idea together.
Yeah.
And I do like how they pulled it off in the movie. It's just that the actual conflict doesn't really have much to do with that. The conflict is with everything else.
well, the
no,
conflict,
the
is mainly
I know, but
because Jamie's
is-
becoming and she
Yeah.
realizes that she doesn't want to. I feel like that's something probably a lot of
Yeah.
famous people do face.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel
definitely.
most
Definitely.
famous people give in to that, and they become
And-
their is.
Yeah.
I think
most
another
people
thing
too.
the movie does well is portraying like kind of like the richer class. Like some of them are like nice and stuff, but most of them will only be friends with you if you are popular yourself.
But she's already rich.
This girl's parents own a pizza shop. A pizza
yet-
shop that doesn't seem to be doing very well.
because of her dad's
because-
concoctions.
So the dad keeps putting like random
Like,
toppings on the pizzas, and they're
liver
inedible. Like
and
he put chicken feet on
prunes
one
and
of them.
chicken
I know.
feet. But their house is so nice.
And each of the kids have a printer. in
Their
their
own
room.
personal printer.
And she has a tablet, a computer, and all these random devices. Like, she's, what, 14?
Like, they're
Why does
so,
she need
and
these?
they
She
have
also has
the
a lot
money.
of clothes. I don't have
Yeah,
that many
and they're
clothes.
like,
And all
so
and she
nice
and they
and
have
fancy
all of
and-
these things before she gets famous. So it's already established they have a good wealth enough to own this really nice house.
When they own a pizza shop, and that's their only source of income.
A pizza shop that's not doing
because
very
they
well.
say later on in the movie that it's going under, so they actually have to sell it.
Yeah.
So I guess the fact that they have
seems
such a
like-
nice house is
Yeah.
like,
It's very weird.
that bothered you too. It didn't bother me because I didn't care. But
Wow.
Well, because you're the
No,
rich
the
one.
other thing is, too,
Okay,
is
okay.
that...
The funniest thing about this was the fact that Taylor looked at me and said, "Wow, her house is even nicer than Vanessa's."
So
Okay.
yeah, she has this really nice house, and it makes
I think
absolutely no sense.
Another thing about the movie that I really like is the fact that if I was in the situation, I'd be ecstatic. Like, I'd be so happy.
Okay, they are expensive.
Because
But she's not happy
Because
about
I
it, so you
realized-
can't relate to her in that.
yeah, true. But like at the very beginning of the movie, Jamie's like really upset about this all this popularity, and I would have been so happy to have
That
that.
sounds like a criticism.
like no, it's not supposed to be a criticism. It's just I don't know. Why do I like this movie?
Okay.
so
I don't
much?
know. So the basic family, it's the main character Jamie, her parents,
And her
her
brother,
brother Lenny, who is the best character in
Okay,
this movie.
I like Lenny a lot, but he's a jerk. I don't
He's the
understand.
best character.
He's a
'Cause
normal bro.
Harley over here is like he's amazing,
He's the best
but
character.
he's a jerk.
He's the best character.
Okay,
in
he's
the
a
movie.
jerk sometimes.
What
but he has
happens
some
with Lenny-
But
qualities.
it's like sibling jerk. He's not a
Yeah, it's
jerk
normal
to people.
jerkness.
It's like,
But it's
oh,
even worse if you're a jerk to your sibling.
No,
because
why?
as,
That's normal.
As someone who has an older brother who is a jerk, heaven hope he doesn't hear me.
as you're posting it online.
I mean, his room is right over there. So
Whoa!
anyway, but it like there are people in your life that are supposed to support you the most, and
Yeah,
that's your
your
family.
siblings are not them.
No, it's your family, and if
It is true. Your
especially
siblings
because
are.
I grew up watching like Disney Channel movies, and like for the most part, like their brothers and sisters are like so supportive, and they're so good friends.
But that's
also,
what
like,
makes
TV shows.
Lenny great, is
So
that he's not a
yeah, true.
basic,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so supportive of my sister.
Actually,
yeah.
But the
a
point
lot
is
of TV
that
shows don't have that. They have that sibling conflict.
Yeah.
Because it's real.
yeah, it is real, like obviously. But the fact
Yeah.
is that like I kind of like as growing up, I expected my siblings to be nice to me, and then they never were. So it made
Yeah,
me feel like I
well,
was less.
so-
and also as a writer, Lenny at one point says to Jamie, he says
Sounds
that
like a pipe
it
dream.
sounds like a pipe dream, and my brother has said exactly that to me.
Well,
Because
well,
I
of
told
course
him
it's a
that I
pipe
was a
dream.
writer, and he was like, I don't consider you as a writer, and you shouldn't have a computer because you don't need one.
Okay, yeah, that's way rude. But honestly, any dream to become famous is a pipe dream.
So that's probably another reason why I like this movie so much. is
So
because
what
I
we've
relate
learned
to
is that
Jamie.
Vanessa projects onto this movie's character arc, and she cannot be unbiased about it because of that. So Lenny is the best character in the movie. He's
I really don't. Okay.
no, I mean he is a jerk, yes, but he's not more of a jerk than most siblings are
Because like
to
the
their
first
siblings.
thing that we ever hear from Lenny is, "Don't. I told you not to talk to me,
Well,
especially
yeah,
not at school."
that's a normal
Well, yeah.
thing
Jamie.
for teenagers do in high
His
school.
name-
So the other characters also consist of Jamie's friends, which is Connor, who is great,
I love Connor. So Connor's my
and
favorite.
I don't even know her friend's
Harmony.
I
name.
literally don't know their name.
Harmony
either.
and what's
Harmony.
Her face?
Harmony
and-
and okay, this is the funny trope. This is a trope that happens in so many movies. It's like the best friends that are like highly environmentally conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it happens.
Why does that happen so
and they're
much?
like constantly going to protest. None of us do that.
That's exactly like Princess Diaries, though, too.
Yes!
Like, they
Her
have
best
Mia,
friend-
and then her best friend is like, we need to stop this and have a protest.
Yeah, like-
and stand
like-
up to this.
And it has nothing to do with the movie.
We
it's just
very
yeah.
recently were in high school, and no, this does not happen.
freshmen organizing a protest against animal testing in the movie. They did multiple like protest topics for these two best
Well,
friend
it's because
characters.
it was under the sea for their
Oh.
because the
Yeah,
whole thing
for
around
their-
the Save the Whales was that it was for prom, the theme was under the sea. They built this paper
that
mache
makes more sense.
whale.
So why didn't they
wanted
just
to-
bring that theme into the original thing?
Because they didn't create that yet, even though the writers should have been smarter. But it's Disney Channel.
Disney Channel.
And the first thing they were doing at the beginning was save the planet as well.
Oh yeah, what the heck?
Teenagers.
So
Teenagers.
Don't do this.
It just doesn't happen. I hate
If you want to save
Disney.
the planet,
This does
stop
not
driving
happen.
a car.
Right.
If
Don't make flyers for Save the Planet if you want to save the planet, because you're wasting
don't print
paper.
things.
Because all that stuff is just gonna get thrown away.
Yeah.
No one's gonna care.
And you're just gonna waste all that paper.
Honestly.
It's not gonna help you.
It's really not. But no teenager cares. That's my point. Literally.
And those who do, they don't really tend to do much about
they
it.
don't. Yeah.
Like,
they
honestly,
just tend to
they'll, like,
tweet
talk-
online.
Yeah.
And, like
I've never.
I
I've
mean, to
never
be
seen
fair-
a real protest in real life. It's always on TV that you see like those people holding signs and going around. and
Yeah.
they're
Like in
"Save the
movies.
I mean, I've seen a couple protests, but none about saving the whales or
Yeah.
any of
I
this
think it was
stuff.
like a
I know.
hippie thing in the
Yeah,
70s.
that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
And it just kind of carried into movies and
Yeah,
became a
that's-
trope. I think that's how it
I just
started.
don't understand that trope. Can we talk about Connor?
Connor is great.
Connor is a nice character.
Okay, another reason why I really love this movie is because of Connor. Because he sacrifices everything
I'll
to
give
go to
you
the
this
dance with Jamie, but then, like, he ends up not being able to go. But instead of, like, turning on her, he, like, holds out hope that maybe she'll finally realize
Connor
that...
Yeah.
is actually a good character, and
Yeah.
I'll give you this point.
Yeah, I think he should turn
about
on
the
her,
movie.
but it's fine. He's just too nice of a guy.
I
Wow.
think it's amazing because sometimes your friends make mistakes. Like, people are
Yeah.
human, and they're gonna make mistakes, especially since she's 14 and suddenly had the entire world being like,
Which is
"Oh,
really
wow, you're
unrealistic.
famous." It is really unrealistic,
Yeah,
obviously.
I think my major problem with this story, it's not bad. It's just that the concept is taken to such an extreme that it becomes annoying.
Also, like, when she goes to that party, she meets all these famous people, which is like, why is she invited to this? She wrote a graphic novel.
That's a good point.
It's not even like a book. It's a
Yeah,
graphic
It's
novel.
a graphic novel, for sure.
Like
Yeah.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid style graphic novel.
So it is kind of weird that she was invited to this huge, because she meets like her idol, like this actor in this
Yeah.
really famous
Yeah.
movie, and then she has an interaction with his co-star, and
Yeah,
she was
why
a
is she
jerk
going
to her.
something with actors? She should be going to like a book
Like
convention.
to like book conventions, because like again, as an author, you go
Yeah.
to writing conferences. You do
I
not go to like these fancy press.
You
things,
made the
whatever.
comparison to Princess Diaries earlier, and I think part of the reason that Princess Diary works where this doesn't is that Princess Diaries was kept far more like local and much more low key. The most of the rage was happening just in her little area.
She never went on television.
And it makes a lot
fancy
more
things.
sense for people to go after her as a princess rather than a random graphic novel writer.
Novel, right? The graphic novel is her journal, and so it's based off real people. And she accidentally reveals on live television that all of them are based on real people, and so everyone in her school turns on her, which causes business at her parents' restaurant to go down. But that doesn't make any sense because there's a ton more people in the town.
It was clearly established that it wasn't just in her high school, it was everywhere that was freaking out about her book. And so it doesn't make sense why the decrease of popularity in her high school would affect her general book sales or her parents' restaurant.
Yeah, because like in our area, there's like 4 high schools.
Yeah.
Just in this area. Like if one of them were to turn on you, you got like 3 others that would still like you.
know what's happening.
Yeah.
They keep
Flip-flopping.
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 They keep
Flip-flop.
they keep flip-flopping between like deciding this is a really big deal or a really small deal, and they don't know which one they want to grasp onto. They're just picking and choosing the benefits of both for the narrative, and it makes it very confusing.
That is true. I mean, Iz does say at some point, like, it doesn't matter what these people think of you because we're on the national bestseller list. But
Right.
At the same time, it still doesn't make sense that her
because
parents' business
she
goes
also-
so down.
When she's at the prom, Iz is also there saying, like, you can get these people back. Just say the right things. Like,
Yeah, Iz is kind of a weird character in and of herself because she pretends not to, like, care. Like something that you said was that Iz would like generalize and put Jamie and her together, and then at times when it was convenient to her, Iz would just be like,
this
not my
is
problem.
your problem. You're the one that said that. So Iz did this thing where she would say, no, it's our book.
In Jamie's fantasies, when she she has all of these like conflicts that are just so minor, like, oh, I didn't want ice in this glass of water, but who can't deal with ice in their water?
The popular girl, this movie has a basic popular girl antagonist, but the popular girl doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
That's a problem in a lot of high school movies. Like, the popular girl is portrayed as this really, like, evil person.
High School Musical
but
has
they don't
the same
do much.
thing.
Yes, with Sharpay, truth is, she really isn't that bad of a person.
But I think the reason that Sharpay works as an antagonist is because there are things that it's more than just, like, rudely saying something. She, like, actively goes out of her way to say things about people or,
True.
like, talk about things.
So I will admit, Sharpay works better.
But this popular girl,
She doesn't do
the
much.
worst thing she did was confront Jamie about putting her in the book
As the villain.
bad guy, which is kind of reasonable for
Yeah, I
a
feel like-
14-year-old conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And they didn't even do anything. I mean, okay.
they didn't do anything
What
to
was
her.
funny about this is that Sawyer was just like, I'm gonna make
Sawyer
your life...
is the popular
Yeah, sorry.
girl. Yeah.
She was like, I'm gonna make your life miserable. I'm like, how?
How?
Like-
Yeah.
She didn't do anything. She once rudely said, "Hey, I didn't ask for ice."
Or, hey, that's my locker I'm trying to get
Or,
to.
hey, it's a good thing
Completely
you don't
reasonable.
try out for cheerleading. Like was
She
that
says,
something
I know.
Jamie was even interested in anyway?
She
I
wasn't.
know.
Like,
She
why
wasn't.
does she care?
She's into writing, and she has her friends who have things going
So,
on.
like, the popular girl
protesting.
doesn't
Yeah.
even do anything in this movie. She just kind of exists because the popular red herring love interest dude exists.
Yeah,
And
because
they're
they
dating.
need... Yeah, and then they get back together in the end.
And
which
then,
is
which
they
makes
never
no
kind of
sense.
weird.
They in the beginning they say that Sawyer is a cheerleader, but they never go on more in that.
Yeah.
Or like that.
Like, they never make it a big
Generally,
deal.
that's like a big deal.
Sawyer's
Yeah.
like a non-character in this.
yeah, she's
She's
really...
literally just there.
She exists to be the bad guy in
And that
Jamie's
only.
story.
Exactly. She just exists to give the story some conflict
Yeah.
and to move it forward.
Not
a
the
little bit.
movie story, her graphic novel
Her graphic
story.
novel, and a little bit of the movie because when Jamie
gets-
accidentally says that Sawyer is
Yeah.
the bad character,
And then-
I can't.
and
remember
That's
her
how
name.
that's how the high
Yeah.
school turns against Jamie.
Yeah, because she accidentally
Yeah.
says Sawyer instead of the villain's name.
And at that point, she's doing the basic, I want to be famous, let's be friends with the popular kids.
So it's a very basic story with some very weird details.
Oh, the zaps. In the novel.
The zaps.
Zaps.
So in the graphic novel, the character of does zaps, and it has this
can't see the
hand.
hand motion.
They can't see the hand motion.
That's
But-
unfortunate.
But they do this hand motion every time they say zap, and because the graphic novel gets so popular, everyone as they're reading the book is like
zapping.
doing the hand motion.
So Jamie walks through the hallway and everyone's just zapping.
And they're doing this weird hand motion as
And I remember, I think it was Taylor, like, in the middle of the movie was just like, oh, wow, they're a bunch of zap zombies.
Oh, yeah.
zap
Literally,
zombies.
it showed like this whole mob of people that were just doing the hand motion.
It's a
just
clunk
like-
of people. That's
It's
what we're going to
so-
call a group of people.
It's so weird. And it's very strange, the kinds of details they put into this
Honestly.
movie. Oh, okay, so Connor is PJ from Good Luck
I
Charlie.
love how you're bringing this up. It has nothing to do
I
with
love
the movie.
him.
Because I love Good Luck Charlie. It was a good
I've
show.
never
No,
seen
it's
it.
childhood.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Everyone turned on me when I said that. Sorry, but we can't be friends. Now I know how Jamie feels.
No, it's such a good show. So I just need to mention the fact that Connor is PJ.
And so at
just
some
feel-
points in the movie, we called him PJ.
2000s fashion. Can we talk about
Yes,
that? Because we
please.
both mentioned it in
Yeah.
our notes.
Okay, I didn't. Because I don't pay attention to clothing. What are you guys talking
The
about?
clothing
I
in
swear.
this movie. The fashion, the clothes in this movie. 2000s fashion was so weird.
Like, it's also like the low-waisted pants
I
that
actually
everyone
did
thought were
notice
cool.
this.
It's
They
because
have
of
like
Britney Spears.
Yeah.
they have so many like accessories on. Like they'll wear jackets.
So many.
shirts.
They wear scarves
earrings.
all the
And
time.
the earrings are like those super long dangly earrings.
Yeah, I hate those.
And she
much.
wore like this winter vest on top of a long sleeve in like a very clearly
And
summery.
they're like pastels.
Yeah,
That's what the color scheme is.
And then
it's
also when
so
she goes to
weird.
this
Maybe I
like,
know more than I
prom
thought.
thing, she wears that little like furry warm coat.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
warm out.
leg
Why do you
warmers.
need it?
It looks
for
like leg
your
warmers.
arms.
And it was like a half jacket, so it didn't actually go all the way down.
Like,
and
No,
was
it
bright,
literally
like,
just went around her
It's the, like,
shoulders,
and it was
cardigan
bright
thing
pink.
that's-
which
yeah.
did not match with her dress
I mean,
at
it did.
all.
Her
The
dress
was
was
white.
Golds.
She just has a problem with pink. 'Cause she
Very
wears
big
pink
problem with pink.
throughout the movie. In weird, she has even that
And
like
she has the
whole pink
weirdest
thing
color
going on.
combos. I think the only person that didn't wear weird clothes in this movie was Sawyer, the popular girl.
I mean, we can all
Maybe
see
that's
that
why
coming.
she's popular.
Maybe
doesn't-
the main character just has bad fashion.
I mean, that's usually how
very
it goes.
bad fashion. Okay.
They called her Jameson.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
Jameson.
a good point.
The main character's name is Jamie, right? And they get this handler when her book gets really famous, and the handler keeps calling her Jameson.
And then other people do too.
But
And it's-
they do it for like maybe 20 minutes in the movie,
And then they stop.
They stop.
yeah, and it's always it's in the middle of the movie, not the beginning, so it doesn't even make sense that they're
It's-
doing this.
It doesn't like
Also,
it just
who
shows
names
up
their
and disappears.
Female child Jameson. That's
Well, they
a
didn't name her
boy's
Jameson.
Also,
That's the joke.
Jamie is not.
They didn't name
short
her
for
Jameson?
No, the
Why
handler
would-
just called her that.
Why?
I
know.
don't know. It
Like,
makes no
Jamie-
sense.
Wait, I thought
not-
it was just her full name.
No, that's the
No,
joke. The handler is
it's not.
calling her Jameson, and it's not her name.
That's so stupid.
It's so
I know.
weird.
Did that really famous person though say Jameson?
Yeah.
As well.
Because the handler called her Jameson.
The heck.
And they kept being like, "Oh, Jameson, whatever her last name was."
But they
We have
only
your
did
book,"
that in the middle
I have
of
no
the
idea.
movie. It wasn't
when
brought
she was
up.
super famous.
It wasn't brought up for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, that's really weird.
And none of her good friends called her Jameson either.
Yeah,
It
they
was-
all called
it
her
was
Jamie.
Very strange.
That is
was.
very, very weird. Now that I think about it, now that I
You're
I
welcome.
thought it was her real name, but
Yeah.
no. Okay, that is really weird.
And then also in the movie, once she realizes that Iz is bad and she's becoming Iz, she realizes that she's become a Myrna or a Sawyer. And
Yeah.
we never see Sawyer being that bad. And so it's like, really?
So it makes no sense that the character is comparing herself to this mean popular girl when the popular girl doesn't even do anything.
Yeah.
It's just she should be comparing herself to Iz, the character she's created.
But Iz was supposed to be a good person.
But it's
But it's
very
just sort of
clear by the
turned.
end.
Yeah.
It's all very strange. So eventually in the movie, Jamie gets to this interview. And this is the interview where she accidentally reveals that, like, all of her characters are based off people in her high school, blah, 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 blah. But, like, she's going crazy in this interview. And after
Yes.
this interview,
She starts to talk to Iz
All
during
the time.
like, not just in her head talk to Iz, like how it's visualized in the movie, but, like, physically, other people can...
Yeah, she turns and she talks to Iz,
And
then she
other
looks
people
back.
are seeing her talk,
And
but
they're
they're
like,
not seeing
"What
Iz,
are you
obviously.
doing?"
And
Like, what's
later, when
going
she's
on?
at the dance with Marco, she literally takes Iz and drags her
Take
away.
Iz's imaginary arm and drags her
so
away.
it looks like she's dragging someone, but
and
there's no one
they
there.
literally show in the movie her dragging no one. So like they're making it very clear.
Iz is not real, and she
Yeah.
looks insane, and people notice, and they look and they're like, "What the crap is she doing?"
And it's and
Apparently,
it
once
doesn't.
you get famous, you go insane.
Apparently.
She's just going crazy, and they don't talk about this in the
Yeah,
movie.
they
They
don't
just
really-
point it out, and they don't do anything with it.
Okay. Even as an author who has characters that I talk to, I don't do this.
I think it was more because it's like her personal diary. She thinks in her like
But,
self
like-
that she's Iz. She
Also,
even like
can we
says
talk
her
about
alter
her
ego
diary?
is.
Why does she write her diary the way that she does? Because I keep a journal every night and I write it exactly how it actually happened.
No one writes a journal like this. She's not writing what's happening in her everyday life. She's writing
What she wished could happen.
like magical powers and wizards and weird things.
Yeah.
And she's just basing the characters off of people she knows.
So
really, it's not a journal. It's a book that's inspired by
But
her
she
life.
gets super mad when it gets published because it's her private journal.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense
She even tells people this. How do they believe her? Like,
that it's a journal.
It's a journal,
Yeah,
but it's
it's
not.
not.
It's really not.
it's really not a journal.
Like, the only thing she bases in reality
No one
are
would-
some of the interactions she has with
like,
Sawyer.
the only reason she would write a journal like this is if she planned to publish the journal, but obviously she didn't because she goes out of her way to say that she didn't.
I've actually written a story like this before, but you don't write that for your journal. That's
Yeah.
that's something that you write
not how
because you
that
want
works.
people to read it. Oh, also another thing. High school in general, like the way they portray it in the movies, there's really not that much of a social hierarchy.
Yeah.
yeah.
Not anymore. Maybe
Maybe
used
it
to
was
be,
in the 90s.
but nowadays it's not like that.
It's true.
Like, you don't really have like these
like
super popular people.
you have social butterfly kids
Yeah.
that know everyone, and like you have student council who obviously know everyone.
You know, there are people I went to high school with that I would call popular, but like they're not like that sort
Yeah,
of
they're
popular.
not popular
There's no
kids.
They're just-
one honcho.
They're just like they're pretty and they talk to a lot of people,
Yeah.
but they're not jerks to people.
right? I want to talk about the
Oh,
climax.
one more time.
Oh, yes.
the
Like,
climax.
I feel like
The climax is the
okay.
worst thing I've ever seen in my
Really?
life. So the climax comes down to cliche. Oh, it's prom.
Oh, it's prom.
Oh, it's prom.
None of us have ever been to prom.
None of us have ever been to prom. We were those losers.
We're all a bunch of losers who didn't
So,
go to prom.
so the climax of the movie takes place at prom, and the theme is under the sea. And so Jamie's friends, who are like these huge environmental activists, make
Only because she recruits them.
because
Yeah,
Jamie signed them
yeah.
all up to be on the decoration committee, but then never actually showed up.
They built this giant whale that would hang from the ceiling, which is really, it really does look good.
It's amazing, actually.
But
Yes.
because they're these weird 14-year-old activists, they're like, save the whales,
Why-
and they
why would you be like
fill the fake whale with seaweed.
and flyers.
Jamie's friend's plan is to like pull this rope which will release all of the seaweed onto the crowd because activism, I guess.
I really don't
understand it.
Yeah.
But during all of this, Jamie is realizing that she's a terrible person, blah blah blah, makes a basic high school prom queen
Move.
speech about,
And
we're so unique and not everything's black and white like my book and blah blah blah.
So you guys should love me
and
again.
she apologizes.
The weird thing about this climax, though, is that she apologizes, she makes the big speech, and she still pulls the lever for the seaweed?
Because her friends were gonna do it in
Which-
the middle of the
yeah.
crowd, and no one would have known it was them.
Yeah.
Really?
But she
Well, actually,
goes-
they made it, so maybe they would have known.
Well, no, because all of the credit went to Jamie.
Yeah.
But then it would have been blamed on her anyway.
Exactly. It makes no sense. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
This is
she
interesting.
pulls the
This is a bad
seaweed
plan.
anyway to ruin the prom?
Except they still have a party after it.
Yeah, which also
But
doesn't
why
make
would
sense.
she ruin prom? It makes
Yeah, I
no
don't-
sense now that she's apologized.
It was because she wanted to make it more of like an apology to those friends. Like,
Yeah, I
here's
think-
something that you care about. I'm all for it.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. So I think the reason why she did it was to show her friends, I'm willing to sacrifice anything for you guys. I'm sorry I've been such a jerk. I'll do this for you, and I'll get in trouble for
But she
doing
was
it.
already gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, true, but then she
But by
kind of-
apologizing, she makes it so that none of them have to get in trouble by just not doing
it, yeah.
Yeah,
True, but then maybe
it's
her
just-
friends would have been mad at her for, stopping them.
Except they clearly weren't, because they went up on stage with her and we're all smiling
Okay.
and stuff. It
You're right,
makes
it's kind of weird. And
the
after,
climax makes no sense.
after she, she
Dumps
pulls the
seaweed.
seaweed, and she goes outside, she finds Connor, and she kisses him. Best part of the movie.
It's 14-year-olds
That's a
kissing.
romantic-
I don't
I'm
like
very-
kissing. I don't know why this is my favorite part of the movie. Anyway.
Because you like Connor and you project onto
I
Jamie.
love Connor.
You want to kiss Connor.
I
That's-
wanna
Who doesn't want to?
but he's 14.
Yeah, it's nice
Vanessa.
hair.
He's 14.
Okay.
Okay, maybe he
Whatever.
is then, but like now he's like what?
Yeah.
PJ is like in his
30?
30s. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's
Yeah.
a little... It's fine.
Okay, whatever.
Anyway, my point is, she comes back inside, and the English teacher is like gonna get her in trouble, and the entire school starts cheering for her.
For no reason. She just dumped
She
seaweed on
ruined their
all of
prom.
them.
I know I would be really upset about this.
I would be extremely
had I gone
upset.
to prom.
Honestly, they didn't put too much thought into that. They were just like, okay, so
The
she needs to
entire
do this
climax.
thing, and then we need to resolve it. So let's just have them clap and be
It's like
happy for her.
those stories that people tell on the internet, and they're like, oh, and everyone
And then everyone clapped.
That
Yep.
doesn't happen. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
because they love me.
And then for the resolution of the movie, they go to her dad's
Oh
pizza
yeah, this
shop.
doesn't make sense either.
And the seaweed gets on the already cooked pizza, and everyone likes it
Okay, most people don't like seaweed.
in the first place.
Yeah.
But seaweed
On
on pizza,
pizza?
uncooked seaweed on
On
already
pizza.
cooked pizza.
And some reason it goes super big. I personally, I like the turn that after all of his experimentation, her dad finally finds a pizza that works.
Yeah.
And that's kind of new.
I
but at
mean,
the same time, it really
Like,
doesn't make
the
sense.
seaweed things that you can buy and wrap up meat in or whatever, they taste good.
Those
they're
taste
salty.
good.
I've
Yeah.
never had any sort of seafood,
But-
so I don't know.
Like, it's
But it
just
seems
so
kind of weird, yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Uncooked seaweed that has been in people's clothes.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, and it was on Lenny's clothes. He accidentally
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
threw it, which is
He
another
threw
weird thing.
his
He threw
jacket.
his jacket across the
And
kitchen
seaweed-
and somehow made it on a hook, which
Yeah.
is also kind of
Maybe
hilarious.
it just takes a lot of practice, or maybe.
And the seaweed
good
from
you know
his
the
jacket
character.
fell onto the pizza.
And also he didn't
which
notice.
is so
How do you not
unsanitary.
notice?
It's so
though.
very unsanitary, especially
Honestly.
since that seaweed was stuffed into a whale for who knows how long.
Yeah.
Because they had to have finished it before prom. That
The
is pretty
whole
weird.
the whole movie, it's a basic cliche plot, but it's filled with so many weird details.
It's to make it their own kind of story and not the
It's-
cliche.
The whole
They're
thing is a
trying.
cringe
They're
fest
definitely
in the
trying. Oh,
end.
yeah.
Okay.
The one redeeming factor is the conflict with her imaginary character which is very interesting to watch. But it's so small compared to everything else that's happening in the movie that it's bad. It's bad. That's
Okay,
how I'll conclude my thoughts.
So Harley thinks it was bad. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's very
think it was
cringy.
bad?
I agree. The imaginary friend, I guess that's
I
what you
love
could call
is.
it too.
Is
But and Jamie, their interaction is really cool, and it's a good story thing to have that. But other than that, the whole story, it's unrealistic. It's very cringy and it's filled with cliches. Yeah, it's just
It's
Okay.
a Disney Channel movie.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Sums it all up.
And then we all know how I think. I really like this movie
Because you
still.
project onto Jamie.
I think it's
And
because
Connor.
I relate to Jamie and I relate to her conflict with her brother.
and you have a crush on
And
the
I have a
14-year-old
crush
actor Connor.
on Connor.
I think it's also filled with nostalgia for you.
Potentially,
Probably.
yeah. I think the big thing about it is I like anything that has anything to do with writing. If
that,
it has
that would also...
That-
anything
also
that
makes
involves
sense.
authors or writers, I will
Yeah.
latch onto it because I am one.
So this has been Read It and Weep. It's a very bad movie.
I think it was great. I highly recommend.
I would only suggest it if you want a bad cringe fest. Thank you for joining us on this session of Thavadio
With Taylor.
with Harley.
And with Vanessa.
See you guys.
And good night,
Taylor, Vanessa.
Vanessa. This is how we start the podcast.